All right, Jim. So why don't you start? Why don't you tell us a little bit about overtraining and the dangers of overtraining?
Overtraining. Uh, it's kind of funny you say that because there's times that I even catch myself that I've done too much. One thing that you can tell that you've done a lot of overtraining is you're just not recovering like you should. Your muscles are in constant state of fatigue. You're constantly just, you don't have the energy and you always seem like you're in pain. Um, I still
Mhm.
think I'm 20 and my body's telling me I'm an idiot, and it's not the case. I mean, I'm still in pretty good shape, but there's even times that I will think that I can lift this, or I can do this harder workout, and even, you know, um, doing those harder workouts multiple days in a row without building up to it. So your dangers of overtraining. One thing that I notice when I overtrain is I'm done. It's like I'm tired, I'm done, I'm just not going to do anything. So it's going to mess with your mental, what's the word I'm looking for? Your mental capacity to get your tasks done, to get your workouts in, to stay on track. Another thing with overtraining is, sorry, this guitar is humming it when I talk. I guess I have a deeper voice. Um, every time I speak, all I hear is hum. Um, another issue with overtraining is it's going to create more injuries. Your body doesn't have the proper time or the proper. I had the word and it's just elapsed me. I'm not kidding. I read this 2 days ago in the class that I'm studying, and they were talking about overtraining. I'm like, this is good information because it all ties in.
Yeah.
It will end up wearing you down. You'll end up being more fatigued, more tired, and you're just not going to have the desire to pursue your goals as much as what you want to. It's going to create more injuries because your body's not healing like it's supposed to. You gotta
Yeah.
factor in. Gotta factor in recovery times.
Yeah. And from my experience with working with clients, and Jim, you might have experienced the same thing. Um, I know, like, we get all gung ho, like when we first start a new program, just like we're about to start the Guns and Hoses here at the beginning of April, right? And a lot of people who are starting the program or a new program in general get really excited and hyped up about it, right? Which is awesome. That's really great that you're motivated and that you're enthusiastic about it. But what happens a lot is that they overtrain and they do too much too fast, and they don't work their way into it. They just kind of dive in, the deep end, and maybe you should have just dove into the shallow end and kind of waited around a little while and kind of warmed up first, right?
Yes. Yes, you brought up something that triggered a memory. The last fire Guns and Hoses challenge we did, my brother-in-law, who was on the law enforcement side, he had made a comment. He goes, "I pushed myself really, really hard the first test, which is the warrior test, and it took him. He said it was 4 days by the time he was able to get back into the swing of things." He's like,
Oh, yeah.
how do I prevent that from happening again? I'm like, well, that's on you. You're the one that has to
Yeah.
control your output. If you want to go gung ho and 120% when you're just starting out from a workout program, he said that he has done a few things in the past. He was former Marine Corps, so even then, he was prepared to do Marine Corps workouts. And he wasn't able to do that because you know, age has crept up on him.
Yeah, that's a good point. And what I like about the fitness test is that it gives you a gauge at where you're starting from. But the danger in that is that you get all hyped up and you're excited about doing a fitness test, and you want to do well, of course, right? You don't want to like not do well. You don't want to, find out, oh gosh, I can only do 4 push-ups, right? So you push yourself really hard, and then you end up sore, like crazy sore, like literally you can't even drive your car sore because you can't even lift your arms up to touch the steering wheel. So then you're out for a few days because you're so sore from that fitness test. So I'm glad we're talking about this because we'll be posting this on the app, and hopefully the Guns and Hoses participants will see this. Just as a warning, the fitness test is really for you and your trainers to just see where you're at. It's kind of good to know if you haven't worked out in a little while. It's kind of nice to know how many push-ups, perfect form push-ups can you do, or how many modified push-ups can you do.
Right.
And we're not trying to push you past, getting to the point where you hurt yourself or you're crazy sore that you can't even move the next day or for a few days. We just want you to have a good gauge of where you're at when you started. So you can remember that at the end of the 30 days and go, wow, I started out, sure, I was kind of ashamed. Maybe I did 9 push-ups, but at the end, I was able to do 25. So,
Right.
you can feel proud of that. So yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up. That's just, just be careful, guys, when, if you're watching and you do the fitness test, if you're joining us for Guns and Hoses, it's just a gauge. Don't push yourself too hard. Just see how many you can do. Don't push past what you think is smart. And, especially if we don't want you to get injured at the very beginning of the program or at all. But and we want you to be able to do day 2. So,
Right.
just pump the brakes a little bit and be realistic about what you can do on the first day.
Right. Get you just past your comfort zone. Get you just out of it. It's kind of what I tell people is, you can go to 5, can you do 6? How easy can you do 6? Just go incrementally, just a little bit more. The one chapter I had read, and it really parallels with this conversation, is we all have full-time jobs. I'm in construction. I've got a full-time job. So if you go to the point of, I am overtraining and I hurt, I am in pain, it hurts to walk upstairs, unfortunately, there's not a lot you can do at this point. You kind of have to start doing some stretches, and you're going to have to just deal with the pain, because that's your muscles. You've tore your muscles, you're rebuilding them as part of the body. So one of the things, yeah, it's a semi. I have no idea where you're seeing it, but that's okay. So the one thing that they recommend when you do overtraining is you need to check your, the one thing that they say is, what is your sleep schedule? Sleep is huge. It is a huge catalyst for a lot of improvements to help your body recover. Kobe Bryant takes a nap before his basketball games. Little nugget of information I read too, that he takes naps because he knows that that's going to help aid in his recovery. He knows it's also going to help him prepare for his game as well. So the first thing I'd recommend, that if you are in an overtraining status, is to check your sleep. What's your schedule? Are you getting what your body needs? Now, I'm not going to say that your body needs 8 hours, because everybody is different. You know what your body needs. Some people can get by with 6, and some people need 9. I'm somewhere in between, just depending on what the activity level is. It seems like if I'm more active, I can get by with less sleep. If I am less active, I need more sleep. So it's kind of weird how my body is like that. And then the next thing I'd recommend, if you're in the overtraining phase, to help with the recovery of it, is, what's your nutrition like? Really pay attention to your proteins. Really pay attention to the amount of sugars. Are you eating the right things? Are they going into your body to, is it a lot of processed pastas? Are you trying to eat the healthy greens and, I don't mind having some carbs, but I'm not trying to load up on the pastas, excuse me, the pastas and the breads either. So, you know, that would be the second big recommendation that I would give if you are in the recovery. And then the third one, which is probably the one that gets skipped the most because ain't nobody got time for stretching, myself
Yes.
included. But that helps. The one thing that Gina had won a foam roller from one of the contests a long, long time ago. And up until I think it was like 3 months, 4 months ago, I had used it off and on, but I didn't really know how to use it until I was able to get some training from a physical therapist and said, hey, you know, if you can use these things, this is extremely beneficial when you go to do, you know, to help with your muscle recovery. So
Yeah.
those are
Yeah.
some things that I would recommend if you are in the overtraining phases. That'll help your recovery process. It'll narrow that window down tremendously.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are awesome tips. And to expound upon that, I mean, the diet thing that you're talking about, you know, if you're eating a high inflammatory diet, which means you're eating a lot of carbs, a lot of sugar, that's a majority of what you're eating, then you have an inflamed body. So when you are sore and you are fatigued and tired and you have that muscle soreness, that means you have inflammation. So if you're eating a high inflammatory diet on top of that, it's going to hamper your recovery time. So, which is a really, really good reason why a lot of endurance athletes are switching to a lower carb diet where they're getting a majority of their macros with the proteins and the fats, and they're doing some carbs for energy, but not enough where it's a majority of their diet, which is typically what most Americans eat, and it makes your body very inflamed. So that helps as well. Um, yeah, so let's talk about scaling. So we talked about, you know, just not pushing it, and don't, you know, and the other thing I wanted to add to you and your points, Jim, is, you know, there is a lot of ego involved. We get excited. We want to push ourselves. We want to do well. But it's better to kind of check yourself and pump the brakes and hold back a little bit sometimes if you're just not feeling it, um, rather than to push yourself and get injured. Because then if you get injured, you're going to be out for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then, you know, all that was for naught. So I have to do that for myself. You know, I have old knee injuries, have old shoulder injuries. On occasion, they get a little irritated, flared up, and I have to, you know, pump the brakes a little bit. You know, instead of doing full push-ups, I'll do, you know, on my knees push-ups, you know, if my shoulder's bothering me for a little bit. So, you know, that just kind of check your ego a little bit. It's cool if you modify. And the cool thing about all of the Fire Team Whiskey videos is that we show you how to modify every single move. So we're right there with you. We're telling you how to do it. We're showing you how to do it. So, you know, don't worry about the ego thing. You have to kind of pump the brakes, you know, if you're not feeling it or you have old injuries that are kind of flamed up, then take care of that. And so you don't push it too far and then you're out, you know, for the entire challenge.
Right, right. And just the one thing that I do like about those days, I try to do my heavy weight training days, if I can, are going to be on a Thursday or a Friday, because I know that delayed onset muscle soreness for me when I do my heavy trainings is always sets in on day number two. I just know my body, that's how it is for me. And everybody's like, well, are you sure it wasn't the day before? No, it takes about 2 days for me for it to set in. So I've learned that I don't do heavy weight training on Sundays because Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the next week, I'm shot. My job suffers because I just sit there and cry because I'm in pain because I overdid it. But if I do it on the Thursday or Friday, that gives me the proper recovery days, and then scaling things down. I love the 22 caliber workout. I like to call those an active rest because I don't have to go full steam on those. I can still do stuff. It's enough that you're just doing body weight. You can get things limbered up. you really need to keep your muscles moving in order to help relieve that pain of overtraining, the muscle soreness and stuff. So scale them
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I love that you said that because scaling doesn't just mean scaling up, scaling can mean scaling down. And
Right.
even if you're feeling like, if you're feeling super sore, that actually means you need to move those muscles. So that doesn't mean doing a hard workout. That means scale it down and do maybe one of the body weight workouts and do all the moves modified. But
Yep.
move your body because you got to get that lactic acid out. You got to get those muscles warm. You got to, do some stretching. I like doing that too. I'll do a little bit of cardio or just do like a fast walk or a jog and then, do one of our yoga videos. So that just kind of moves the muscles, kind of warms them up, gets you limber, gets you stretched out. But the worst thing you can do is not work out and not move and stay locked up because that's just going to prolong your soreness.
Yep. Yep. And one thing that I try to tell myself is if I'm sore today, is it just me being weak or am I really sore? If your body is really sore, it's going to be sore tomorrow too. So I'll do a good workout today. The yoga. I love the fire yoga video you did. That one is it really is challenging, but it really gets a good stretch in. And then tomorrow, you're either going to still be sore, and that's your rest day then, or you're going to realize that it was just a moment of weakness, and you were just looking for an excuse to get out of your workout. Most of the time, for me, it's the first one. There are a few times, especially lately, I've been trying to get a lot more weight training and stuff in. I've got goals that I'm trying to get to maximize my bench, my squat, and my yeah, you can go out and my deadlift. So I've been trying to hit the weights pretty hot and heavy. So it's to take these recovery days, and I like to scale back on some of these other workouts.
Yeah, yeah. So and scaling up. So this is one that I challenge, and have had a major issue with some of my clients. And this is the sneaky way that I get my clients to do this. So if you're watching, guys, I encourage you to get a heart rate monitor or a watch that monitors your heart rates and track your heart rates during your workout. Because a lot of times our perceived exertion effort might be, depending on the day, higher or lower than what it actually is. I'm shocked sometimes when I'm kind of feeling like I'm struggling, I'm feeling like I'm super out of breath, and I'm like, man, my heart rate must be, 170, and I look down, it's like 140. It's like, whoa, I'm sucking wind today. So it's kind of a mental thing. It's like, hey, okay, my heart rate really isn't that high. What's going on? Why am I struggling? Am I not, doing kind of circular breathing? Did I not hydrate enough? Maybe I didn't warm up long enough. So that's kind of your check. That's why I love tracking heart rates. And I also love tracking heart rates for clients because a lot of times they'll just check off those boxes of the workouts, but their heart rate, I'm going to call out one of my clients, heart rate doesn't climb past 101, which is barely a fast walk throughout your entire workout. So I'm calling you out on that. And you've got to check yourself. It's like, okay, was that really a workout, or was that you just kind of walk down the street? So you've got to scale. You've got to scale yourself up too in order to make any progress, because there's in America, there are gyms full of people who are doing the same workout on the treadmill or the elliptical, and they're chit-chatting with their friends, and their heart rates never go past a certain level, and they wonder why they can't lose any weight. They're like, well, I go to the gym 6 days a week. Well, you walk on the treadmill or you do your light jog, and you never do anything any different. You never push yourself past, you never scale it up. So, Jim, can you talk about how you can scale up your workouts? If you're finding yourself your heart rates aren't really climbing, you're not making any progress, you're starting to feel frustrated, how can you scale up your workouts?
Well, you were talking about the treadmill, and it's funny you mentioned that because my sister, my older sister, uh, has been working on a treadmill, and I said, "What else are you doing to change it up?" She goes, "I'm running on the treadmill; it's doing just fine." Well, it's been I don't know how many months now, and she's kind of hit that plateau.
Hmm.
So I'm like, "Why don't you increase elevation?" It's like, "Well, I can't run on an incline." Okay, but you don't have to go to maximum 12. If you're used to running on 0, go 5.
Hmm.
Or go 0.5, go 1, 1.5. Do minor increments. Easy to do. It's not a lot, but yet it's enough that if you increase it to the treadmill I'm thinking of has got 10 notches, and it's got half notches in between. So you got 1, 2, 3, and you can also go 1.5, 2.5. So you've got this wide range that you can go. Even if you increase that a half, you just scaled up a little bit, and you're going to feel it. So that's just an easy way to just do a quick adjustment. Hey, you know what? I really feel like I can do more, so I'm going to scale it up with my time. I'm not going to run for 15 minutes. I'm going to go for 20. I'm going to push that extra minute. Or instead of going for time, I'm going to go for miles today. I'm going to run for 2 miles on my
Hmm.
treadmill instead, and I'm going to go as fast as I can. So depending on what your timeline is, most of the time that if for me when I run on the treadmill, I know that it's going to take me about anywhere from 13 to 14 minutes to run because I don't go at a fast pace. Now, when I go out and run on the road, I don't have that um, I don't have that resistance. Like I can just take off the reins and I can run faster. So that would be a way to scale up as well, as get off the treadmill and get on the road. You
Hmm.
know, two different areas. A lot of people like, well, I live in town. I'm tired of your excuses. You just don't want to go run on the road. That's all it is. You know,
Right.
there are certain areas that people live in that I'm going to say, you know what, if you live in a bad neighborhood, don't run in the bad neighborhood or run faster. Maybe you want to go running in the bad neighborhood. It's a good way to scale it up. You know?
Or drive yourself to a nice area. I do that all
Right.
the time. I mean, a lot of you may or may not know. I live in an RV. We travel around. Some places have more accessible places for you to work out than others. We happen to be staying in an RV park right now. Right behind us is a community park, and they have a big set of stairs and a nice long like kind of loop with a sidewalk, and it's very hilly. I'm like, I saw that, I'm like, woohoo, I got my cardio workout for the couple weeks we're here. So sometimes you have to be a little creative, but
Right.
yeah, that's how you can scale. Is like, can you add a set of stairs? Do you have a set of stairs in your house? Can you add a step? Go buy one of those cheap steps from Walmart. Take it up just a few pounds in the weights, or maybe stay with the same weights, but just do more reps.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't always have to scale it to, a lot of people think, well, to scale workout, I have to spend 2 hours in the gym. No,
No.
you don't have to do that at all.
Time under tension. You do body weight exercises. You can do a 4-second count on the ground to the bottom of your push up, and then hold, and then push up fast. That's still a push up, but you're scaling it different. You're adding a lot more resistance because you really have to go slow. It eliminates that rubber banding. Tons of simple things like that. You're going on a walk, put a backpack on. It doesn't have to be
Hmm.
heavy, just a 5-pound backpack. It's amazing how much difference that is. Um, when I work, I often have about 20, 25-pound, 30-pound uh, tool belt on, and I usually walk relatively quick. So one would think that when I go out on a nice leisurely walk with my wife, that leisurely walk with my wife, I actually hurts more because I'm not carrying that weight. but it's completely different. I get to stride out. I get to just, I'm pushing a stroller. There's different things that a person can do.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah. So awesome. Yeah, that was great. That was a great topic. So thanks, Bert, for that topic. I'm sorry you couldn't make it. That was a good topic, though. Thanks, Jim, for joining.
Yep.
And so just a reminder to everybody, if you know anybody in law enforcement, EMT, paramedics, medics, say corrections officers, firefighters, even volunteer firefighters, absolutely. Please let them know about our Guns and Hoses Challenge because we start on April 5th. And firefighters are very excited about this. It's hard to get the law enforcement people excited. I don't know what to do to get more law enforcement excited about doing this. I don't know what it is. It's like firefighters are just gung-ho. They're like, fitness challenge? Yeah, let's do it. Law enforcement, you have to kind of talk them into it. It's like there's a lot of like convincing going on. So,
There is.
but if you know anybody who, if you're watching, please send them the information. Please talk them into it. Please ask them to join. It's completely free. It's a 30-day challenge, and it's a lot of fun. And we have a lot of fun prizes. And you get, if you finish it, then you get an awesome exclusive Guns and Hoses t-shirt. So thanks, Jim, for joining us.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
Bye. Have a great night.